Let's now consider what would happen if we made some mistakes. What if we did not charge the correct rate for the use of the engine? What if we only charged half the correct rate? All right? Well, the red line represents charging the correct amount and the constant assets the club would have throughout. Let's switch to a different color here. That's how much we're charging instead. All right? Which means that once we get to that point, some of our cash is gone. As you can see, I moved the cash above the line here and the cash above the line here. All right? And so now the yellow diagonal line represents our total assets. And as you can see, we've made a mistake. They are declining over time. We've not done well by the club. The interesting thing is you won't notice this at all until you come all the way down here, and now we're ready to overhaul our engine. The trouble is we now only have $12,500 of cash, and it's going to cost us $25,000, and therefore we have this gap of $12,500. The club has very few options at this particular point in time. One would be to borrow the money from one of the accrual accounts for something else, one of the other engines, or one of the other airframes, or this airplane's airframe. The problem with this solution is that it simply kicks the can down the road further, causing us to have to face the issue even later. Ultimately, we're going to have to face the issue. And how could we do that? Another option would be to do a one-time charge to our active membership. If we had 40 active members and we were short $12,500, we could do a one-time charge of $313 per member and recover that $12,500. The problem, though, is that the cost of that is being shared by every active member. And those members who were actually flying the airplane during that period of time weren't paying the full cost of their consumption of the airplane. And so we've transferred the costs from the members who are flying the airplane to all members. That will likely strike many as unfair. What could the club do if it recognized that we had this particular problem at about the halfway point, at about 1,000 hours? Let's erase part of the graph and work on a correction, a mid-course correction. So now at the 1,000 hour mark, we're going to start charging more to recover the cost for this particular engine. So the curve now looks like that. And now, by the time we ultimately reach the 2,000 hour mark, we now have the full $25,000 in order to overhaul the engine. It is interesting to note that for the first half of the life of the engine, we were only charging $6.25 per hour, which was half the rate. In order to recover it from the 1,000 hour mark to the 2,000 hour mark, we have to charge $18.75 per hour, so that the average across the whole life of the engine is $12.50 per hour. So the people flying in the latter half of the engine's life are paying triple what those who flew the airplane during the first half of the engine's life. The later we discover and then correct this issue, again, the greater the imbalance will be between those flying the aircraft in the earlier part of the engine's life and those flying the aircraft in the latter part of the engine's life. Therefore, it's incumbent upon the club to correct this issue as soon as possible.